What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle for the next episode of Weekly Indie Newcomer. My name is Splattercat, and I'm happy to have you here today as we check out an RPG that I've been playing a hell of a lot of over the course of the last week. It's designed by Orphic Software, and if you wanted to check it out, you can get it for $17.99 on Steam. Today, I will leave all the information down below just in case this game tweedles you like it tweedled me. I don't know what a tweedle is, but it sounds like a sex move. It tweedled my interest and my nostalgia. If you haven't heard about Antharion, it is an old-school, unapologetic RPG in the vein of Ultima 5, 6, 7, Pagan. Other games you can put in there, Eye of the Beholder, maybe Warriors of the Eternal Sun. Basically any old school RPG where you get to design your entire character sheet and they all don't really have a personality. You kind of just like play your way through an open world and do whatever you want. If you like those sorts of games, this is a game that's probably going to keep you hooked to the computer for quite a long time this weekend, and I apologize for destroying any of your personal plans that you might have had. I've got like 24 hours played. I've had the game for like 4 days, and so I've been playing it a lot. Basically every moment that hasn't been at work or sleeping has been on Antharion because I like the game. It's definitely got me going. So the way that this is going to be orchestrated as a review, it's going to be a little bit unorthodox because you can't really start the game from the beginning because this is a game that takes at least like 6 or 7 hours to get started. Like when your characters are low level, they're uninteresting, and the things that I'm going to show you aren't really going to get you that excited. You've kind of got to play the game for a little while. You got to put in your time and do some quests and level up a bit. And once it all starts to come together, I think that the game is an enjoyable experience. And so during the first period, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a party. I'm just going to go to the character creator because I know a lot of people are going to want to see that. We'll create some characters. And then from there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into some early mid-game play that I have from a save that I've been playing personally. I had a late-game save that I was really far into the game, but unfortunately it was in my quick save slot. And then I screwed up and I overwrote it by hitting the quick save in my alternate party. I have 2 campaigns going, and I wiped out the first one that was a lot further in by quick saving at an inopportune time without thinking about it. So unfortunately, I can't show you like the really good endgame stuff with all the crazy spells because I wiped my own save like an idiot, but I can show you the other stuff. So let's start out. We'll make a bunch of characters, play around with that. There's a bunch of classes that you can play. There's going to be custom, which is actually all of my characters and all of my playthroughs are custom because I find that I like to move around the goalposts a little bit when I create a character. I like some of the supplementary abilities and things like that, but if you wanted to, you can make yourself a warrior, which is all about the two-handed melee. You can make a thief, which has pickpocketing and lockpicking, but not a whole lot of other skills. You can make yourself a sage who's good at alchemy, which is brewing potions, and lore, which allows you to see hidden stuff, and also identify items and use crystals on your characters. Crystals are these little solidified, you can think of them as like mini level ups that you find in dungeons, and so it'll have a crystal, and by using the crystal, if you have enough lore points, you can use the crystal on one of your party members to increase one of their parameters. They can increase your attributes, or they can increase your skills, and so they're useful to have around. You can make yourself a fighter, which gives you defense and one-handed melee, just in case you wanted to make a more rounded out fighter instead of somebody that's just running around cleaving and being like, no, stab you with the sword. You know, if you wanted to make somebody that's a little bit more reserved in their fighting style, that would be the fighter. A little bit more defense in there. Probably want to run them sword and board if you can. Ranger uses archery. You've got the Gray Wizard, which uses gray magic, which is essentially supplementary magic like teleports, recalls, things of that nature. Polymorphs, I think. Lots of like random spells that don't really deal damage or heal anything, but have various effects on combat and also gameplay. I don't have one in my party. I have one guy that's both black and white mage. It works out okay. White mage is for healing and buffs. Black mage is exactly what you would think from your Final Fantasy history. Lots of damage dealing, the fireballs, and finger wiggling. All the stuff you could ever want, but I usually go with custom. As far as races go, you've got yourself human, Felmer, which is your rogue race. You've got yourself Orc, which is your warrior race. Elf, which is pretty good as a caster, which focuses on having a lot of MP, or you can make them into a decent rogue if you wanted to. Necrophils, amazing mages. You got yourself Undead, who are also solid mages, but they move some of the goalposts around a little bit by swapping some points in and out of intelligence and wisdom. And I think that's just about everybody. Wolfkin, which is basically a warrior that has a little bit more strength, a little bit more constitution versus strength with the Orc, I think. So if you wanted to have more HP, you go with the Wolfkin. If you wanted to have more strength, you go with the Orc. You can make male or female characters, whatever you desire. Every single race has about 5 different faces that you can throw onto them. It'll change their portrait around a little bit. They look a little bit out of proportion right here, but I promise you, once you're in the game and you put some gear on them, it's only when they don't have clothes on that their ragdoll looks a little bit, that their... Is that what it's called? Yeah, they're ragdoll. It's just when they don't have clothes on that their ragdolls look a little bit weird and out of proportion. Once you put clothes on them, actually everything looks okay. So if you're looking at the graphics right now and you're thinking to yourself, it's kind of ugly, Just be aware that when they're nude, the proportions look odd, but once gear is on them, it all looks okay. You've got all the stuff you would think you would have: HP, spell points, and action points. Action points determine how far you can move. Attacking drains all of your action points, so you can move and attack, you can move and use potions, but the second that you attack, your turn is over. Strength dictates how much you can carry and how much damage you do. Dexterity is actually a pretty good stat for a number of reasons, but dexterity determines your accuracy with all weapons and how much damage you deal with bows. This means that archers have one dump stat and they don't put points into anything else, which makes them insanely powerful because every other class in the game has to split their points in between 2 or 3 attributes. Intelligence gives you spell points. Wisdom makes you better at casting. You can fizzle in this game. If you were around for old school RPG play, you'll remember that there was this thing called fizzling, and when you tried to cast a spell, you would randomly fail at it if you weren't good at it. Wisdom gets rid of that, and it makes you better at casting, so you don't fizzle very often, and it also increases the effect of your attack, so it increases the damage of spells, and also reduces your chances of fizzling, whereas Intelligence just gives you more SP. Constitution is HP, and Luck affects just about everything from picking locks to getting crits and everything that you can think about. That's pretty much all there is for the character creation. What I'm going to do now is we're going to jump on into my mid-game. It's unfortunate, it makes me a little bit sad, but we don't really have much of a choice because I'm an idiot who over-saved his quick save. So without further ado, I'll see you on the other side. Bye, everybody! Hi, everybody! Welcome on back. That was a short hiatus, wasn't it? And welcome to Antharion. So this is my 4-man party. They're sort of like, I would say, well, we're like level 6 or level 7, I think. Level 6 as of right now, so you can see the way that their skills developed. I've got Uklangor, the orc fighter. I've got Leomond, who's going to be my archer. I've got Ordain, who is going to be, I think, my wizard, and so he's got a bunch of skills. He's got a little bit of black magic, a little bit of white magic, a little bit of lore. I've been working on things here and there, but obviously I haven't been able to get their skills up all the way to where the previous party was that I accidentally overwrote. So what are you going to do about it? My final character, I think his name is, Beldurin, and so we've got two-handed melee at 30 for him, and he's got some bartering skills, just so I can buy the things that I need at the price, which is acceptable to me. As of right now, I don't really have a whole lot of quests, but you do get quests in the game. The game is mostly like free roaming. Like, you're going to spend a lot of your time walking around just fighting random bad guys and leveling up off of that, but there are quests to help you find your way. So for example, this is the big one right here, where if you complete this, you get to go to the next part of the map, where my other party was. You can tell I can't let go. The pain is too pervading and deep. It's the RPG player's problem. You saved your game in a dumb spot, and now you got to pay for it. Rosemary's cat, I was supposed to find a cat that's like, she buried in a cemetery for some reason, but it's like in a secret wall. And then there's an alcoholic in town who wants a bunch of wine. Still, you don't really have to follow any of the quests except for the main one if you don't want to. So if you just want to wander around killing mobs, you can do that if you want to. So for example, there's like some seagulls and some crabs right here. Let's jump into combat, see if we can give our characters crabs. And so combat's going to start. You always get to act first. You get these little pips underneath your character. That's how many AP you've got so that you can walk around as much as you want. Diagonals only cost 1, and they make that fair by making it so that everybody can move along diagonals. Kind of a cool little concept, but I guess it's something that's been done before. I mean, diagonal movement, obviously. This character, he beats people to death with a beer mug. I don't know. I think that's super awesome. My warrior's got leather armor on right now. I've got him like supplemented with some magical gear just in case, because I need to pick locks every now and again, but I don't have a rogue because I'm trying to do like a very specific strategy with my character build. It'll work out like later on in the game, like 20 hours from now, but it's totally not going to work out in the early game. It's going to suck for us. My archer, I'm going to have him shoot at a crab. Yeah, keep those crabs away from me. I got shampoo and everything. Oh, my wizard has no mana. That's unfortunate, so you're not going to get to see any pyrotechnics for right now. He's low level anyway, so he doesn't really have much. It is what it is. My other characters had all kinds of magical spells. Unfortunately, this guy focused on white magic, so his black magic is definitely lacking. He doesn't really have a whole lot of things there that are useful for me. They're going to close the gap with me right there. None of these are going to be like a major threat. These are all very much early game characters. We got like 6 levels inside of us right now. That's going to make it so this is basically a cakewalk fight. My recommendation when you play the game, though, would definitely be to clear all the monsters from every map. You're going to be doing a little bit of grinding in this game because it's very, very level intensive. So what I mean by that is that if you don't have the levels you need, this game is just going to pistol whip the hell out of you the first time that you play it. So until your characters are leveled up and they actually like overwhelm your enemies, you probably just want to keep farming. So there is going to be a little bit of grind in here if you ever want your characters to be super awesome at fighting. As of right now, he's got an 89% chance to hit. Alright, let's wipe him out with our cudgel. I love how a little bit of blood gets onto the club after you get done like beating your enemies into submission. It's one of those little details that really just sort of like solidifies the experience for me. And look, he'll have blood all over his mug right there. It's going to be amazing. My wizard is getting chewed up right now. I'm going to let him die so that you guys can see what happens. It's not really that big of a deal. Hit you with a club up for 22, and the wizard is dead. When your characters die, so this game uses kind of like a unique XP system. Down here at the bottom of the screen, this purple bar is your XP bar, and it's shared between everybody. Regardless of whether you die or not, everybody in your party shares the same XP bar, so everybody levels up simultaneously. I don't know why that decision was made. It's kind of like a unique thing, I guess. Got a rock and 10 gold. Apparently that seagull was packing. He had beer and a skull. Apparently that crab has had like the most busy weekend ever. He's been drinking and fighting and killing and ripping off skulls. Sounds good to me. I got some magical sandals right here. I loot everything onto this character because the one you have highlighted is the one that loots. You can't change your party order in the game, so if that's a thing that bothers you, make sure that before you start your characters, you put them in the order that you want them to be in on the party creation screen, because it's like one of those little ease of access, kind of like ease of living type things that unfortunately it's not in the game. What time is it? 3:05? Sleep for 3 hours. I'm going to try and play at sunup so that you guys can see. So as of right now, I've cleared out a great majority of all the dungeons in here, but I think a pretty good place for me to take you is going to go, let's go to the Codex dungeon. That sounds pretty good to me right now. There's not going to be any recall or anything like that because I don't have a character that has the spell. I should probably sell some stuff too. Well, we'll go to town first. We'll wander around for a little while. We'll get some stuff done. The animations are obviously very, very limited. That's actually one of those little things that I wish they had like a walk animation or something while they were going around. And the other thing that I noticed is if you switch the direction that they're facing, it actually mirrors the character. So right here, his shield is on his left hand. On this one, it's on his right hand. So he actually swaps his weapon like every time that he walks around. So yeah, it's one of those little things that I noticed along the way. Let's continue walking and seeing what we can accomplish here. I figure if I get down, I think if I follow this road right here, it's going to take me back to town, and then we can talk to the guy that identifies our gear. I can get some of that done. We can do some random vendor swapping, and then after we get done with that, we'll go into the dungeon, and we'll see what we can accomplish there. But this has been a game that I enjoyed very, very much, and it's kind of like one of those things where I sat down expecting to just sort of be like, okay, it's another RPG, and I expected to be very, very jaded by it. And I say this in just about every review that I do, because honestly, I'm always surprised that indie developers pull together such entertaining little games. But in the case of this game, I got into it for a couple of hours, and for like the first hour, I was like, meh. But once my character started to develop and we got a little bit further in and we started to see some of the other things that were available and get into some of the more intense fights, I definitely started to enjoy the game a little bit more. This guy identifies my gear. Identify my flip-flops that I found inside of a crab. There we go. So he'll identify my flip-flops. It gives +2 to lore, which means we definitely want to put these sandals on this guy. So let's move these over to here because he's going to be my lore dude so that he finds the holes in all the walls that we can go inside. There it is right there. We'll stick that on that side. +2 to lore. That's going to show up on his character sheet in here. He's got 12 lore. Hooray! That's so much better than 10. Numeration and acceleration of skills. I also need to sell some stuff. So let's jump in here real fast. I'm going to throw away these sandals for 9. I've got pretty good bartering skills, so I should get decent prices on most of this stuff. What is that? Level 5 straw sand. What? Those sandals are better than like your full-on clogs? How are you going to do little wooden shoe tappy dances? Man, if I can't tappy dance before I go into a fight with monsters, I don't want to play the game at all anymore. I quit. I'm done. Clip, clop, clip, clop. That's the sound that I like my shoes to make when I walk around the house. But seriously, the sound that flip-flops make, it drives me crazy. It's one of my pet peeves in life. Like when people wear flip-flops and you're like walking somewhere with them. Oh, those are completely different. Those are like samurai sandals. Okay, they got like a... Oh, well, they give 3 armor. I don't even care. So let's be on our way. I want to beat some more stuff to death with a beer mug. As of right now, I don't actually have a lot of magical spells because I've been out adventuring. But what I do have a lot of is money. So maybe I can buy some new spells here to show off. My guy is primarily a white mage, so I think I'm probably going to purchase him, well, these blue books are the white mage spells, so I can get him Cure that gets rid of random status effects on my characters. I can give out Knight's Blessing, which sounds pretty good. It sounds a little bit evil, though, if you're getting blessings from the Knight. Either way, we'll take that, and I don't really want Cure that much. It gets rid of harmful magical effects like CCs. You can polymorph. If you don't know what a CC is, if you've never played an MMO before, it's crowd control. Essentially, it's a spell that takes somebody out of combat for a while. This game has those, and they will drive you nuts. Like, the AI loves to spam these things. And so your entire party gets a little bit of XP whenever he learns spells. We can jump into our spell book right here and go into the white chapter. And I think that I'd like to click that. We'll put that into a hot slot real fast. Knight's Blessing takes 7 SP. A little bit expensive. Cure takes 12, really. That's really expensive. I would expect that. You might as well just let the CC run out if it's going to cost 12. Because each of these guys, if you take a look at his stats, I think he's only got like 50 spell points. and that's with like a bunch of points into intelligence. He's got 60 spell points, so a fifth of my total mana just to get rid of like poison or like a curse. Yeah, that spell cost needs to be a little bit lower for it to actually be useful. I'd say it should cost 2 or 3 spell points. It should be very, very cheap because it's very cheap for the enemy to fling out random crowd control spells. This game is just absolutely saturated in crowd control. A lot of the fights you're going to find that your characters are more or less just like turned into sheep for half the game. It drives me crazy. It doesn't make me super happy. I wish that there was some form of diminishing returns on it, but it's one of those little things that I can overlook because most of the fights in this game are not going to have anything to do with wizards. Now, I've already been through this dungeon right here, and so I don't think we're going to find a whole lot on the first floor. I got to find my... Ooh, there's actually a hallway that I missed. Ooh, I missed one. Let's go this way. Let's see what's going on inside the... Oh, man, a dead end. Why would you even build that hallway? The architect of this place really needs to get his shit together. Like random hallways running off in random directions. This is where the book that we're looking for is. It's called the Codex, and it's the first major quest they give you in the game. I think you get it right when you step out of the first dungeon. But really, you've got to run around and level up for a while. If you don't, you will regret it because this dungeon is pretty nasty. There it is. That's what I'm looking for right there. I need that little... I don't know if you saw that purple square back there, but that's going to be the stairwell down so that we can go find some monsters to fight. Let's go ahead and be on our way here. Yeah, deep down into the dungeon, riding off to kill bad guys. Gonna hit them with my mug because I'm all liquored up. Oh, yeah. Alright, so there it is. We found our way around and everything is looking super swell. Let's jump down into the dungeon real fast. And now that we're in here, this is going to be a new area. I don't like the way the Fog of War works in this game. I think it actually hugs you a little tightly. I think that they could actually ease that up slightly so that you could see a bit further, because right now it's like every member of your party has glaucoma. And I think they did that because this game has combat that's fairly easy to exploit if you just play a lot of archers. Archers as they stand right now are kind of too good. Like they're really, really, really... Oh, there's a fight right there. So we found a skeleton party down and in here. He's only got 2 friends. What a lame party. We're going to step down into here. I'm going to step to there and fire an arrow at his face. Eat arrow, my friend. You're not my friend. Why did I say that? I don't want you to think that you're my friend. And like if I don't send you an invitation to my birthday party, you're going to be all upset and sad with me. I usually leave this guy with the large cudgel in the back with the casters and the archers to protect them from anybody that tries to run up on you and act super hard, because heals are really important in this game. If you don't have them, you are gonna miss them. 13 damage out right there from the beer mug. Apparently hitting a skeleton with a beer mug gets blood all over it. I don't think of skeletons, desiccated skeletons that is, of having like loads and loads of good stuff like blood and viscera and veins inside of them, but maybe they do. Maybe I'm completely and totally wrong. Let's try out, I've never tried this night spell before, so I want to try this. Let's give it to him. Oh, he fizzled. He fizzled. The worst thing that a wizard can do. From now on, you should be called the Fizzle Wizard. That is what you get. Oh, and he's about to die too. Lame. My orc just got dominated. He got wrecked super hard. I probably should have used that turn to heal. Probably should have used that turn to heal. That's where I messed up right there. Let's go after... I want that right there. Yeah, put it on him. Ordain casts Knight's Blessing. Ooh, look, he has upward swooshies. He has the power of the Reddit upvote with him. Let's go ahead. Ooh, 35 damage. Damn, you're a wrecking ball now, my friend. You are a wrecking ball. He's well, technically I'm a wrecking club, but I get what you mean. I found your meaning. We can also shoot a fireball if we want. Hadouken! And so there it is. We wipe him out with our random little fireball. Unfortunately, I can't show you the cool spells because my other party, I have a specialized black mage where all he does is bomb spells on people all day. This guy's a hybrid that I was playing around with in my second campaign to see if I could make it work. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Hybridization in this game, kind of a bad idea. Might not be the wisest thing to apply your mind to. I'm going to rest for a little bit. Yep, you rest just like in old RPGs. You got to sit there and get your HP and MP back after you die, and then bump into your microphone because you're an unprofessional sod. I don't know if you guys heard that. I bumped into my microphone, and I'm free to admit it right now. Still, let's dive deeper down into the dungeon and see if we can get ourselves some treasures. Because if I can get that... Why does treasure... I always feel like treasure should be spelled T-R-E-S-H-U-R, treasure. That sounds good to... Ooh, this dead guy right here. What you got? You got like a mint leaf? Alright, well at least you died smelling good. I love the smell of like fresh mint leaves when you're out like hiking and you find a mint plant and you cut the leaves off of it and just like chew on it for a little bit. Oh, it's the best. It is das Beste. Oh, that cell had one skeleton inside of it and it appears as though he is territorial. Unfortunate. Alright, well there's a crit for 19 right there. That's pretty sweet. Let's shoot, since I have mana right now, I might as well hit him with a fireball. His fireballs are going to be super weak. Don't tell him that I said his balls are weak, but his balls are totally weak because he's a white mage. He's not built for this sort of combat. However, my archer is pretty good. I need to spend some more time on my archer, though, working on his archery skills. This time around, I focused really heavily on support abilities, and I'm not sure how that's going to turn out in the long run. Oh, look, there's another skeleton in here. These little one skeleton fights. Let's go ahead and take care of business right there. My hope is that we level up during the course of this whole thing so you can see what that process is like. In a nutshell, you get 5 attribute points and you get 5 points for skills, and they're actually pretty hard to come by, but this is balanced out by the fact, so the game is very skimpy with skill points, but it's balanced out by the fact that just like in Skyrim, you can buy skill points, and unlike Skyrim, so in Skyrim, I need to heal my dude real fast. Let me give you that healing loving. I have to sing when I heal people. Just put it in your mouth with my magic knife. Got another skeleton. Oh, that one's got a weapon. Okay, so he's armed. The arms race is on with this skeleton. Let's go ahead and take care of him. Step on off to the side right here. I'm not going to use any more of his mana because he needs to save it for Healy Lovins and more songs because you can't sing songs without mana. Let's go ahead and fire off another arrow right there. You can tell with the perspective, you can't rotate the camera at all. And so sometimes it can be very difficult to target things. It's just like this minor thing that has bugged me the entire game. It doesn't happen very often, but every now and then, for some weird reason, skulls sell for 10 gold. So I always pick them up because by the end of the dungeon, I always have like a 25 stack of skulls. And it's extra gold that I otherwise wouldn't have. And in a game where gold buys you more skills and makes you a better character, why not? Loot all the skulls. Skull for the skull throne and all that fun stuff. Some arrows right there. I gotta put them on my archer, otherwise they're not gonna be that useful. There we go. So now my archer's got that stuff. I'm gonna put those into his stack. You do need to make sure that they have ammo, otherwise he looks like he just got done like farming rhubarbs or something, and then he came out to shoot arrows at bad guys. Oh, there's a crate right there in the corner. Well, damn, I almost missed out on that. But yeah, because of the perspective, sometimes you're going to miss out on things. It is what it is. The game is a dungeon crawler. So if you're looking for a game that has like oodles and oodles of storyline, you're not going to find it here, and this is not going to be the RPG for you. The storyline is there. It exists as you get further and further into the game, but for the most part, this is a game that's about exploration, wandering down into other dungeons, and just killing stuff over and over and over again, and watching your custom-made party get cooler loot and accomplish greater feats of strength. Ooh, he's got a fancy man hat. Okay, so since he's got a fancy man hat, I'm going to assume that it's probably a good idea to run up on him. Maybe he'll maybe he might cast some really cool spells on us so that you can see what the graphics look like. They're not much. It's all old school, but you know, you can pick through it. I think I'll probably go through right now, and let's give him a little blast right there. Give him a fireball to the face. Let him catch it and find out. And then on this side, we got a skeleton coming in from there. And then we got another one right there who's going to stab my archer in the face, and that's going to make me very, very sad. That's going to be a very unacceptable situation. Right here, I'm going to move him. Actually, let's stay on Davizard. I would like him to go away because he's already poisoned one person, and that upsets me. So let's kill him right now. Down he goes. His fancy hat could not save him. Step through. Ooh, you got him. We critted him for 4. It's not much, but it's something. I'm going to take a swing right there. That should handle our business a little bit. I think we should be alright. A little bit of damage out right there. But anyways, we just got to hang in here for right now. This is one of those fights that could be nasty if you didn't level up enough. Let's maybe focus. Actually, I'm just going to point blank this dude in the face. Let him get some. He's all taken care of. Wizard, hit him with your... Actually, Wizard, I need you to heal yourself. Ah, there it is. You got to give yourself some lovely, funky lovin'. Oh man, I had funky lovin' one time. It was a little bit awkward and weird, but at the end of the experience, I was glad. I put it like into my little journal. It's a thing that happened to me. I'm okay with it. Funky lovin' took place. Just kind of check it off the list, and we'll go do something else later on. Wizard, oh man. Can you heal one more time? Oh, you can? Fantastic, Wizard, fantastic. Hit that guy in the face with a club. As I understand it, blunt implements are fantastic for skeletons. Now, this game doesn't have a system like that in play, but still, I work by D&D rules where they have like resistance to slashing and stuff. Arrows away! Although I'm happy, considering the fact that I have an archer in my group, it's probably a good thing. Okay, so we waded through that one, survived it just barely, and all of that for 25 kroner. What are we going to do right here? I'm actually going to sleep for a minute. That's going to allow me to get some of my stuff back. And then we're going to continue diving on down into the dungeon. Oh, we're lockpicking. We are locked. How many lockpicks do I have? Because I break a lot of lockpicks. Because nobody in my party actually is any good at lockpicking. Ah, there it is. Usually I save scum those, like I totally do. I'll admit to it. I'm so full of shit. But honestly, like in this game, the lockpicking, you don't really get better at it. Like, I have a character in my other campaign who has like 50 lockpicking and still only really has like a 56% chance to pick the lock. Like, this game is a long and arduous process of taking your characters and making them better than they previously were. And so if you're expecting to just like walk into this game and be good at stuff, so for example, like in Pillars of Eternity, if you have a character who's focused in lockpicking, throughout the game the lockpicks are mostly standardized to that character's experience. Like, if you put every point you have into lockpicking, he or she is going to be able to open everything along the way. In this game, if you put everything into lockpicking, your character's going to suck at combat, and then they're going to have like a 50-50 chance to open locks, which isn't even that great. So I decided I'm not even going to level lockpicking, and then I'm just going to save scum it, and I'll put this points in other spots until I can level it up with money, because that's just the sort of like devious player that I am. Well, anyways, let's fire a little bit over there. We only got one guy right here. That would suck if your name was just what you are plus what you're holding in your hand. That would totally suck. Like, I would be Matthew Mouse right now. That would be, well, that works out pretty well, in fact. That seems like the sort of thing that I could parlay into some kind of, like, reggae career. I don't know, like, shiggity whoa! I don't know. I think I could do it. Shiggity shiggity whoa! I gotta work on my scat, though. If I don't work on my, like, my scat man type thing, I don't think I could ever be a true reggae singer. You gotta work it through. You gotta work on the skills before you go into those new avenues of employment. But anyways, I do like this game. I've spent like a lot of time playing it, like a very real amount of time playing it. I think I'm sitting at like 20-something hours. Oh my god. That guy's got a badass cloak and he looks like he's gonna hurt me. Oh man, I don't like this one little bit. He's got like a blood circle around him. One of the things I do like about the game is how it's super colorful, but at the same time that doesn't diminish like the morbidity of the room that you're in. Like, there's totally people cut in half in this room and there's like blood everywhere, and it's bright, colorful, happy blood. I don't know if I want to do this right now. I know that I need to shoot that guy. That guy looks like he's got all kinds of problems lined up for me. So let's fire some rounds at him. And actually, while I do this combat, I'm going to talk about the things that I do and don't like about the game. I think nostalgia is a large component of what Antharion is trying to conjure with the majority of its gameplay elements, and with that being said, I enjoyed and am still enjoying the game tremendously as of the time of this release. I do have some complaints, and for the most part these are minor, and they have to do with the UI or how the AI works, but there are some major things that people should be aware of before they check the game out. The graphics are going to be on or off for most people. If you were there for Ultima, Planescape, and other sort of old school RPG games, you'll probably like the pixelated style if you like the pixelated style in the first place. It's going to work for you if it works, and it's not if it's not. If you don't like pixelated games, it'll probably fall short with regards to the presentation, but I thought everything looked pretty. The game's max resolution is 720p, so if you like your resolution to be up at 1080p, that might be a game changer for you. I thought it looked pretty good, but it's a look from the past, so just be aware you're not going to get any like amazing flashing visuals here. In most ways, Antharion is a competent RPG, which is barking up the same tree as the offerings from Spiderweb Software or Lord British's Origin Systems. All the moving parts are going to work exactly the way that you expect, and it doesn't break from the mold much at all. I liked this. I found it to be comforting, and it was a solid time killer for me, as well as a nostalgic trip back to my childhood RPGs, but it's hard to say how Antharion will do with people who didn't experience that or are not necessarily so rose-colored in the glasses. Character building is prone to overpowered builds and poor characters alike, and one character can vary heavily from another based on the way that you plan it and also internal design. This is largely due to the fact that the developers are still tweaking things, and in the last couple patches they like to make very sort of sweeping changes, and so I've had to reroll parties and stuff like that because of it. Archers benefit heavily from the current system. They only need one stat to do their job, and so you can just dump everything into it. Every other class needs 2 or 3 stats, and so you end up splitting the points for mages and warriors of all types. Secondary skills can be a little bit weird and hit or miss. They can be hard to level properly without spending huge amounts of gold through vendors. It has the same system that Skyrim has, where you can talk to people and be like, hey, I give you money, teach me how to bludgeon things in the face better, and they're like, okay, and they don't question it at all. If you fail to dump your stats into the things that keep your class effective in battle, you will suck in combat, and that's the majority of the game. This is a dungeon crawler. But if you fail to get off that path every now and again and put points into secondary skills like lockpicking or bartering, you're not really going to be able to get the maximum amount of dungeons. And so with the skimpy presentation of skill points, it can be really, really difficult to kind of figure out the sweet spot, because the dungeons and the challenges inside of them don't necessarily match up in terms of level and challenge. So what I mean by that is that I've had characters that I've dumped all my lockpicking skill into, and they're absolutely terrible in combat, but they still don't have enough lockpicking to open chests that are inside dungeons of the same level. This is largely due to the fact that that the developers just retooled the entire lockpicking system, so I'm sure it'll be polished as time goes along, but still, it's just a thing that's bothered me so far. The story in the game, it's present here and there. You get snippets from the quests you do during the course of the game, and there are humorous quests around to break the grind of killing loads of random mobs as you wander the map, but be aware this is not like a story-based game. You're exploring an open world and just kind of like having fun looking for dungeons, and dungeons there are all over the map. They're hidden in every corner. They're totally optional. You don't have to do them, but they're all over the place, and in a dungeon crawler you might as well. So people that enjoy looking in every nook and cranny and like being rewarded for being thorough will be gifted handsomely in this game with additional level ups and gear. The AI can be odd and sticky, and what I mean by that is it'll do absurdly stupid things sometimes, but other times it plays like a chess master. And so, as an example, in one fight I was 1v1ing a monster. Everybody in my party was dead. Everybody in his party was dead. I had 1 HP left. He could have walked up and just tapped me in the face and I would have fallen like over and lost. I thought the fight was over, but then he polymorphed me and healed me to max, and then I just walked up and beat him to death after he healed me to full, and it made no sense considering the fact that he already had me dead bang. Other times the AI will exploit the incredibly effective crowd control spells in the game to keep your party locked down 24/7 chessmaster style with confusion, freezing, and polymorph, and one mage is more than enough to be able to lock down 2 or 3 players if he has only polymorph and frostbolt. This becomes a problem when you have 4 players in your party, and if you're up against 2 or 3 mages in one fight, this can lead to essentially watching your party be decimated within turns without ever being able to actually play aside from, you know, the first turn. Some sort of diminishing returns on crowd control would be fantastic, because that's one of the few real frustrations that I've seen in the game so far. However, for all the faults that I've said right here, it's hard to find another game of the same genre and based on the same time period that Antharion is trying to emulate without similar problems. It does have some things that are modern. You know, the NPCs follow around with the day and night cycle. And so during days and nights, they go and do different things. There's a crime and punishment system. There are good and evil quests and things like that. So obviously it has little touches of modernity in it. So I would say for fans of old school Ultima-esque adventures that just have little touch-ups, Antharion is a no-brainer. And you'll probably like the game a lot if you enjoy dungeon crawlers. If you wanted something super modern, you probably won't find it here, but the best way I can describe Antharion is as the following. It is a fantastic time-killing RPG dungeon crawler to load up on your laptop if you've got like a 12-hour train ride in your near future. I've had trouble putting it down a couple times now at night to go to bed, so I figure if I'm enjoying it that much, some of you other old school folks or new school folks might enjoy it as well. The game's price point is $17.99. You can see it down in the description below. This is Weekly Indie Newcomer. My name is Splattercat, and I will see you all later. Thank you for joining me in this look at Antharion.